On Mountain News this morning, the Trump administration is suspending federal leases for all large offshore wind projects under construction. And Jim Beam says it plans to pause production as its main distillery in Kentucky beginning January 1st.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neely Green here with you on this Tuesday, December 23rd. The time is now 6 o'clock on the dot. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it's Tuesday, which means it's almost Wednesday, which means it's almost Christmas.
I know, the countdown is here. In fact, we're just a couple of hours away if you really think about it, and Christmas is almost on the way. But unfortunately, it's really going to be a warm holiday this year. So if you do like warmer temperatures, there's good news for you. But if you're hoping for a white Christmas, the forecast is saying no. Here's a look at what we're seeing this morning. Mixture of those 50s already out the door. Chillier for our Virginia and West Virginia counties. But as we head into the afternoon, everybody will be warming into the upper 50s and low 60s, leading to a really good day temperature-wise. However, we are seeing some spotty showers on and off throughout the day. And if you're not seeing the rain, you're looking at cloudy skies, which will be keeping up with us all day long. Here's a look at that planning forecast for you. High temperatures will be around 4 p.m. And again, seeing a lot of rain throughout the day. Neely.
Thank you, Megan. The Rowan County Coroner's Office says a body was found Monday afternoon. A worker reported the body on South Tolliver Road. The Rowan County Coroner pronounced a 37-year-old man dead at the scene. No foul play is suspected. The man's name has not yet been released. One person is dead and another seriously hurt after one vehicle crash in Laurel County. Deputies say the crash happened around 5 a.m. yesterday along Kentucky 192. They say an SUV went off the road before hitting a tree head-on. 52-year-old Christopher Allen Cornett of London was pronounced dead after he was taken to a hospital. 38-year-old Ashley Jane Mosley was flown to UK for treatment. A Louisville business owner is venting his frustration over the city's access to properties impacted by the UPS plane crash. Metro leaders say that businesses in the half-mile crash radius near Grade Lane can now access their properties from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Emergency leaders have limited access to the area as crews still work to clean up the wreckage of the crash. The CEO of Quantum Inc. Company welcomed some of its workers back on their property yesterday morning, but he says the wait and restrictions have put a strain on families during the holiday season.
It's put us in a scenario where we got to work around the clock. We got to work weird hours. We got to sacrifice time with families, and we got to sacrifice enjoying the holidays.
Our sister station reached out to the mayor's office to learn more about the site cleanup and the restrictions. Breaking overnight, the Pentagon says it struck another alleged drug boat. President Donald Trump is refusing to back down from his pressure campaign on Venezuela, even threatening to start land strikes. This comes as the U.S. continues to pursue a third oil tanker that the administration is transporting sanctioned oil from the South American country. CBS News' Jared Hill has more from New York.
The Defense Department has confirmed it launched another strike on an alleged drug boat, this time in the Pacific Ocean, killing one person. That brings the total number of strikes to at least 29 since September, with more than 100 people killed. The Trump administration's intensifying campaign against what it calls narco-terrorism comes as the U.S. continues to ramp up pressure on Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Over the weekend, troops seized a second sanctioned oil tanker, and President Trump says there's a third in its sights.
It's moving along, and we'll end up getting it. Venezuela has slammed the U.S.'s strikes and seizures of oil tankers as piracy. The country's government has introduced an anti-piracy bill. On state TV Monday, Maduro said President Trump should focus on his own country. President Trump Monday directed this at Maduro. We have a massive armada formed, the biggest we've ever had. If he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough. Last week, the president wouldn't rule out war with Venezuela, and Monday he threatened land attacks could start soon.
The buildup against Venezuela has faced bipartisan criticism from members of Congress. Meanwhile, the president announced a new so-called Golden Fleet of battleships.
There'll be 100 times the force, the power. There's never been anything like these ships.
Surrounded by his national security team, he said they could be ready in 2.5 years. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The president said he's already approved plans for 2 new ships, though he ultimately expects the new fleet to consist of 20 to 25 new vessels. Russian and Ukrainian representatives met with U.S. officials in Florida this weekend as a peace deal remains elusive. White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff released 2 statements, one saying meetings with Russia were constructive and the Russians are fully committed to achieving peace in Ukraine. In another lengthier statement, he said meetings with Ukraine included discussions of key documents, including a 20-point peace plan and security guarantees for Ukraine. Land concessions and security guarantees for Ukraine remain the most difficult hurdles. The Trump administration is suspending federal leases for all large offshore wind projects under construction. The administration cited unspecific national security risk. The move threatens thousands of jobs and cheaper energy and marks a major escalation in President Trump's attacks against offshore wind. The Interior Department did not specify the national security risk, but did note the potential for wind turbine movement and light reflectivity to interfere with radar. Jim Beam's main distillery will pause making spirits next month as the bourbon industry faces slower sales. While the Clermont location in Bullitt County will not be producing bourbon or whiskey, the visitor center will still be open for customers. The Kentucky Distillers Association cites rising taxes, changing drinking habits, and tariffs for the stoppage. Governor Andy Beshear says the war on tariffs strips the industry of international markets like Canada.
They banded together and stopped buying U.S. products like bourbon. That's bad for the industry in Kentucky. And listen, I don't want to deprive anyone, even Canadians, of good Kentucky bourbon.
In October, the Kentucky Distillers Association said the state had an all-time high of 6.1 million aging barrels of bourbon. However, the record number comes with a price, $75 million in barrel taxes. According to the KDA, that's up 27% from 2024 and 163% through 5 years. Kentucky's income tax rate will go down to 3.5% at the start of the new year. Economic experts say that can mean trouble for the Commonwealth. The state says the change will cost the general fund $718 million in revenue. The Kentucky Center for Economic Policy says the drop from a 5% income tax in 2018 to a 3.5% next year will cost the Commonwealth more than $2 billion in revenue. They also found that the income tax cuts benefit the wealthiest Kentuckians. 2026 is a budget year, so state lawmakers will have to address the situation during the upcoming legislative session. The session will start on January 6th.
And we're still seeing some of those spotty showers throughout the region. So let's take a look at satellite and radar and just see what's cooking right now. So go ahead and pause that. You can see just where we're seeing some of those dots here and there. Looks like portions of Breathitt County, Perry County, Lee County, Virginia, as well as Campbell and Claiborne County, Tennessee, as well as many other folks sprinkled throughout the region. So just keep your eyes out on that today. Not going to see any crazy accumulation with these systems, but they're definitely noteworthy as it could impact your day. Temperatures right now, though, are in a mixture of the 50s and 40s for more of our Virginia and West Virginia counties, but by the afternoon, we'll all be warming up into the upper 50s and low 60s. Neely.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. How many people have achieved the American dream? There's a really cool new place in Washington working to find out how.